Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhuscha saka tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Sri Dakshinamurti Sudeshi Kendram Dvaipayanam Sutrakritam Munindram Sri Shankaram Bhashyakritam Yatindram Madhyeshi Kanchapi Namami Vidyai. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsa Rishibhyo Mahatbhyo Namo Gurubhya Sarvopa Plavarahita Prajnana Ganaha Pratyakarto Brahmaivahamasmi. Om Prapannaparijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gita Mritaduhe Namaha. Pranams everyone. We are in chapter 3, Sloka number 20. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim Astita Janakadayah Loka Sangraha me vapi Sampashyan kartumarhasi. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim Astita Janakadayah Loka Sangraha me vapi Sampashyan kartumarhasi. So we had, in the last class, we completed Sloka number 19, where Bhagavan said, or Bhagavan actually advised Arjuna or commanded Arjuna to perform Karma Yoga, to do action. And he said perform Karma Yoga without any attachment. And he said only by performing Karma Yoga, only by doing Karma Yoga, only by taking Karma Yoga as the sadhana, one can go towards moksha. Karma Yoga is a necessary step towards moksha. Only through Karma Yoga, a person will be able to attain Chitta Shuddhi. And through Chitta Shuddhi, one is able to get into the Jnana Yoga, and then from Jnana, after getting Jnana or by getting Jnana, one attains moksha. So Bhagavan actually completed that section of Karma Yoga there. Now Bhagavan is getting into another section. And in this Sloka number 20, Bhagavan is gives us an example. He gives an example of a person who has performed Karma Yoga and attained moksha by performing Karma Yoga, as in performing Karma Yoga, getting Chitta Shuddhi, and thereby attaining moksha. And in the second line of this Sloka, Bhagavan also gives another reason why Karma Yoga must be performed. So one reason we have already got. One reason is Karma Yoga is needed for Chitta Shuddhi. Now in this Sloka, in the second line, Bhagavan is giving another reason why Karma Yoga must be performed. So first line is an example of a person who has through Karma Yoga attained moksha. Second line is another reason for Karma Yoga. So we said Karma Yoga has to be performed for Chitta Shuddhi. And why is that Chitta Shuddhi needed? Chitta Shuddhi is a necessary qualification for attaining Jnana. The knowledge of that you are Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, the knowledge that Tat Tvam Asi, that thou are, that knowledge will not be assimilated, will not be accepted, will not be implemented, will not be reflected upon deeply, will not be at the back of our mind unless we have Chitta Shuddhi, unless we have this mental purity. And therefore, to attain that mental purity, Karma Yoga is necessary. And what is the moksha swarupa? What is the benefit of attaining such a knowledge? We saw already in Sloka number 17. Atma triptascha atma ratihi atma santushtaha. A person becomes contented, he revels in himself, he has no complaints on things that he is dealing with. So then a person could ask, or even Arjuna could ask, now you are saying all this karma yoga and about being the state of atma ratihi, atma truptaha, atma santushtaha. Has really someone attained that level? Is there anyone whom you can refer to me, whom you can point out to me, a person who has attained all these things? So Bhagavan, taking that Arjuna could have this doubt or could get this question, is giving an example in this shloka. Bhagavan is giving him a drishtantam. Drishtantam means example. Who is the example here? Raja Janaka. Janaka Maharishi. Janaka Raja. He is not a Rishi, but he is a Raja. So, and Bhagavan says, it is not just Janaka. He says, people like Janaka. Which means there are more than one. And Bhagavan says, people like Janaka have lived their life according to what Bhagavan has prescribed in the Vedas, and they have attained moksha or siddhi. So if you go to the sloka, karmanaiva hi samsiddhim astita janakadayaha. Karmana eva hi. Karmanaiva hi means karmana eva hi. Karmana eva hi means, here karmana means grihastha ashrama. Here karmana means does not mean action. Abiding or by being in Grihastha ashrama, not taking up sannyasa, just by being in Grihastha ashrama, samsiddhim astitaha. Samsiddhi means siddhi means something to be attained. Samsiddhi means the ultimate or the most beneficial, which is moksha or liberation. Astitaha means have been attained, have attained. Abiding in Grihastha ashrama, being in Grihastha ashrama, moksha has been attained. By who? Janaka dayaha. Janaka and others. Janaka Adi. Janaka Dayaha means Janaka and Adi. Raja Janaka and other Kshatriyas. And here, why Bhagavan wants to give the example of Raja Janaka? Two reasons. One, Bhagavan does not want Arjuna to take up sannyasa. He wants him to remain in Grihastha ashrama, and therefore he is giving a Grihastha ashrama Jnani, a person who has been in Grihastha ashrama and has been able to attain Jnana. The other is Janaka is also a Kshatriya. So Bhagavan wants to give an example within Arjuna's varna. So he is giving another Kshatriya, Raja, as an example. There are other kings also. Like for example, Raja Ashwapati is there. Raja Ashwapati is Kaikeyi's father. Kaikeyi's father is also a Jnani. Then we know Raja Bhagiratha. They were all Kshatriyas, but they were Jnanis and they were kings, and therefore they are called as Raja Rishis. And actually we find it in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. There are several occasions where the kings were very learned people. There is, within this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is Garga and Ajathasatru. There is a samvada, there is a discussion. And in that, a learned Brahmin, he goes to Raja Ajathasatru and says that, I know Brahman. And then he gives a description of Brahman. And Ajathasatru says that if you know only this much about Brahman, then you have not understood it properly. Your knowledge is incomplete. Only this much, he asks. You know only this much, he asks. But then this Brahman person, this person who is very learned, whose life is entirely, he has dedicated his entire life to learning. then he understands that Ajathasatru knows much more than what he knows. So he does not keep his false ego. He surrenders to Ajathasatru and says, if there is more knowledge that I should get, I surrender to you, please teach me. And then Ajathasatru, the Kshatriya Raja, he answers and he gives him the teaching. So, in those days, Brahmins were these centers of learning. I mean, they used to be the most knowledgeable. But there were lots of Kshatriyas. There were lots of Kshatriyas who were actually well qualified and had more knowledge than some of these people. So Ajathasatru, he teaches Brahma Vidya. It's an important section in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So here, karmanaiva hi samsiddhim. Karmanaeva hi samsiddhim. Karmana refers to the Grihastha ashrama. And when somebody reads this karmanaiva hi samsiddhim, he can also make up saying, only through actions can somebody attain moksha. Karmanaeva hi samsiddhim. Only through actions somebody gets liberation, or one gets liberation. That is also a wrong interpretation. It might look as if moksha can be attained through actions. It is not like that. Here karmana means grihastha ashrama. By not taking up sannyasa ashrama, by continuing to remain in grihastha ashrama, there have been people who had attained moksha, astita janakadayaha, people like Janaka. Now, in this sloka, Shankaracharya does a kind of vikalpa. He does some vichara. And he gives two possibilities and explains how whether this possibility will make sense or not. And if this is the possibility, then how we should interpret this sloka. The first possibility that Shankaracharya takes up is, if Janaka was a Jnani, we consider Janaka to be a Jnani, which means he has attained Jnanam, then how should we interpret this particular line? Karmana. That karmana must be understood as Grihastha ashrama, he says. Which means Janaka lived according to dharma, he performed karma yoga, he attained chitta shuddhi, and still being as a king, did not take up sannyasa, but he learnt shastras and he attained jnana and got samsiddhi, moksha. He got moksha by living in Grihastha ashrama, by continuing to live in Grihastha ashrama. This is one possibility, that considering that Janaka was a Jnani. Because here, karmanaive hi samsiddhim astita janakadayaha, Bhagavan does not say whether Janaka is a moksha, he has attained moksha. But he says samsiddhim, he says. So if samsiddhim has to be taken as moksha and Janaka has attained moksha, then karmanaiva hi samsiddhim has to be understood as a person living in Grihastha ashrama has been able to get moksha by following, studying shastras within Grihastha ashrama. The possibility too is, if Janaka was not a Jnani, look how Shankaracharya is bold enough to put forth this argument saying that Janaka was not a Jnani. It is universally accepted that Janaka was a Jnani. But from a state of, from an understanding standpoint, from a debate standpoint, from a vichara standpoint, Shankaracharya puts forth this point. And he says, suppose Janaka was not a Jnani, then this karmana must be understood as karma yoga. And samsiddhim must be understood as chitta shuddhi. So which means By following karma yoga, people like Janaka have attained chitta shuddhi. So this sentence, if Janaka is considered to be a Jnani, this karmana and samsiddhi has to be understood as Grihastha ashrama and moksha. If Janaka was not a Jnani or not to be considered as a Jnani, then this karmana has to be understood as karma yoga. Samsiddhi must be understood as chitta shuddhi. The second argument is only for the sake of, the second possibility is just for the sake of argument. The popular interpretation and the correct interpretation is the vikalpa one, which is the first one. And Janaka has been praised in many texts as a Jnani. In fact, Vedavyasa's son, Sukha Brahman, who was also a Jnani, Vedavyasa himself sent Sukha Brahman to Janaka to study Atma Jnana. So Sukha Brahman went to Raja Janaka to study Atma Jnana. There is also another anecdote in Janaka's life. Apparently Janaka was a Kshatriya Raja. In those days, everybody studied. Everybody went to Gurukul. So all the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, everybody used to go. And Raja Janaka, when he was prince, he was loved by his guru. Guru was Yajnavalkya. And the other students, they felt that, Janaka being king's son or, prince, and therefore he was given preference by the Raja, by the guru. But Yajnavalkya was very clear, and he wanted to let others also know of how firm is Janaka's jnana. So what happened one day when Yajnavalkya, and by this time Janaka had become the king. When Yajnavalkya was teaching, suddenly they could see that the city Mithila was burning. The capital was burning. And the flames were all over the place. All the disciples, they ran helter-skelter trying to save whatever they could. Because they wanted to go to their cottages and save whatever they had actually accumulated, whatever little cloth and others they had. So everybody had fled except Janaka. Janaka was sitting and listening intently. He was not running away. So Janaka had ignored all his riches. It was his city, his palace that was all getting burning. It was all getting burnt. But Janaka stayed with his guru, listening to the guru's teaching. When he was asked how he could be like that, he said, and Mithilayam pradagdhayam name kinchit pranashyati. If Mithila is burnt, nothing that is mine is burnt. That is what he said. And he said, infinite indeed is my wealth, or infinite indeed is my wealth, of which nothing is mine. My wealth seems to be infinite, but nothing is mine. And if Mithila is burnt, nothing that is mine is burnt. So he had a kind of a detachment towards his wealth already. And this is what we have to understand. Anything that we possess, possession is no satisfaction if ego breathes in it. If the moment we consider it is mine, this relationship is mine, this person is mine, this object is mine, this situation is mine, then it becomes painful. It becomes painful. If we understand that we are only a trustee and we are actually supposed to manage this for this particular life, Bhagavan had given us these people, this wealth for us to lead our life. and do what can we do to the society, then it is better. Then we will not have so much of pain. What happens if the ego goes inside these possessions, that it belongs to me, it is mine, then whatever happens to that particular object or that particular relation, it impacts us heavily. So if we start loving a curtain so much, if the curtain burns, we burn along with it. Because we identify ourselves with the object, with the relationship, with the person, with whatever we possess. So when my curtain burns, I burn along with it. I cannot take it. But then what happens? We become immediately Jnani when it happens to somebody else. When somebody else's curtain burns, the neighbor's curtain burns, then we say it is his prarabdha. Then we suddenly become Jnanis. We say it's all his karma. So that is the problem. We have to understand, we have to reflect on ourselves. We need not look into others. We just need to make sure that we have to consider where we stand on these things. Anyway, Janaka was a Brahmajnani, a Raja Rishi. So here, karmanaiva hi samsiddhim has to be understood as being in Grihastha ashrama, and samsiddhim should be understood as moksha. So what is it for Arjuna here? Arjuna should understand that there were other Kshatriyas who had continued to be in Grihastha ashrama and they were able to attain Jnana. Which means there is no need for him to run away from the battlefield. There is no need for him to take up sannyasa. And therefore what should Arjuna do? Look into this battle as, he has to understand as Dharma Yuddha. And he should use this opportunity to purify his mind. He should use this opportunity to get Chitta Shuddhi, continue to remain in Grihastha ashrama, attain self-knowledge and be a Grihastha Jnani. You remember in the 3rd chapter we started also, Bhagavan said, Lokesmin divida nishtaha pura prokta maya naga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. Sloka 3 in the same chapter, where Bhagavan said, I have given 2 lifestyles, Grihastha ashrama and sannyasa ashrama, and 2 sadhanas also, karma yoga and jnana yoga, and moksha is not determined by the lifestyle, by the nishtha. It is determined only by the sadhanas. So a person could be in Grihastha ashrama, if he performs karma yoga and then jnana yoga, he will attain moksha. Or even if he goes to the sannyasa ashrama, not everybody who goes to the sannyasa ashrama have got the Chitta Shuddhi yet. They may not have Chitta Shuddhi, enough Chitta Shuddhi, even if they have taken up sannyasa as an ashrama. So what they do is, or what these ashramas or what the guru will do is, they will ask these disciples or these new sannyasis to do seva, service to the society. Why seva? By doing seva, you are doing karma yoga basically. And by doing that seva, you see that Ramakrishna Mission has got so many seva centers, and so many of the monks who do their teaching, they do doctors, they are doctors there. So many people are doing lots of service. The idea is, by doing that, you attain Chitta Shuddhi. They do this as part of Karma Yoga. And then they study Jnana to become a Jnani. So just by changing a lifestyle, one does not get Chitta Shuddhi or does not get moksha. Tomorrow a person decides to take up sannyasa, doesn't mean that he has immediately got Chitta Shuddhi, or he will get it by taking up that lifestyle. So lifestyle is only a facilitator. It is not a sadhana. So Janaka, example given by Bhagavan to validate his 3rd sloka, the 3rd sloka that we said. A person who had stayed in Grihastha ashrama but performed these 2 sadhanas and attained moksha. Because there's always a feeling by a lot of people might think, only because I'm in this house, I'm amid these people, I will not get moksha. As long as I'm in this society, as long as I have to deal with office, as long as I have to deal with the people around me, as long as I am in this house, dealing with my spouse, with my children, with my in-laws and others, there is no way that I am going to get chitta shuddhi or moksha. The only way I can get it is if I am actually able to get away from all these people, go to an ashram, meditate, be alone, I will be able to get all these things. These are conditions that we put upon ourselves. Moksha is not determined by the place where you live. Ashrama or house does not matter. Whether you have stayed by the side of Ganga or by the side of your hometown, doesn't matter. Moksha is given by the mind, the intellect, and that perceives it. And moreover, everybody is put in a state where they have to mature. The reasons why these situations are given, these set of people come into our lives, is for us to mature. These are opportunities for us to actually reflect on our behavior, on our character, on whatever emotions. We have to reflect that, we have to change that, and we have to overcome that. Unless you are actually exposed to them, you try to run away, all these emotions, all these characters may remain dormant, because you are not, probably one person goes to an ashram, he does not meet any of these family members, there is no need for him to share, there is no need for him to feel jealous or have pride or anything. But the moment he comes into a situation where there are other people around him, the jealousy, the pride, the ego, the anger, all those things might actually come out. So the opportunity that is given for a Grihastha ashrama person is something blessed, in the sense we should use this opportunity to overcome all these negative characters, negative habits, negative behavior, negative emotions of our mind. And only by doing that, only by going through that, one is able to get chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi, important thing, one needs to live life according to dharma. What is dharma? For that we should have studied shastras, or we should listen to shastras from a guru. Only then the mind will get conviction, mind will understand and actually live the life as prescribed by our shastras. And only by living the life as prescribed by shastras, moksha can be attained, chitta shuddhi can be attained. So here, first line, it is about person who has lived in Grihastha ashrama and has been able to do those two sadhanas. Janaka and Bhagirath is another person who has been able to do it. Now coming to the second line, Loka Sangraha me vapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. Bhagavan gives another reason why a karma yoga must be performed. An additional reason. Now we will see who should be performing karma yoga. Karma yoga is one who does not have chitta shuddhi, he should perform karma yoga. Okay, I keep saying chitta shuddhi, chitta shuddhi. What is chitta shuddhi? What is chitta shuddhi? In simple terms, not having raga dvesha. What is raga dvesha? Strong likes and dislikes. There is no hatred, there is no aversion, there is no attachment. So, which means whoever has got this attachment, whoever has got an aversion, whoever has got an hatred towards anything, any being, any relationship, any situation, that person must perform karma yoga. Why? So that that person can overcome this raga dvesha. So if a person has got raga dvesha, Is that person Jnani or not a Jnani or an Ajnani? Obviously, he has to be an Ajnani. Because when the mind has got Ragadvesha, that mind cannot assimilate that knowledge, will not be able to take that knowledge. He is not qualified to take that knowledge. So, to perform Karma Yoga, one must have two qualifiers. One, the person must not understand Atma, which means Atma Ajnanam is one of the qualification. And Chitta Ashuddhi, he does not have, he is not able to overcome Ragadvesha. He still has Ragadvesha. So if a person is performing Karma Yoga, then he has got Atma Jnana and Atma Shuddhi. That is the rule, general rule. What about us? We all have Ragadvesha. Yes, it is okay to have initially. Initially, we are all having Ragadvesha. We all have our likes and dislikes. It is okay to have it, but we should not protect it. I say, this is what I like. I will not let go of what I like. This is what I dislike. I hate it. I dislike it, and I will not overcome it. I will stay with my dislike. Or I should not feed more things to make it stronger. The idea is to grow out of it. So if we understand that the idea is for us to actually reflect upon ourselves and say, okay, this is where my hatred is, this is where my dislike is, this is where my attachment is, this is what I find it to be, I cannot let go of. I have to understand that, and I have to do Karma Yoga to overcome that. Some people may be Ajnani or may have Ashuddha Chitta, but they may also think that no, I am Dhiraha, I am a Pandita, I am a Jnani. Some people have this feeling that, okay, I have understood the concepts that have been given in the Vedanta Upanishads, and therefore now I am a Jnani. I have attained what I am supposed to attain. That is actually wrong. If that person takes up this particular understanding, then this person will not do Karma Yoga also, because he thinks that he has already attained Jnana. There is no need for him to perform Karma Yoga. So it is important for an Ajnani and Ashuddha Chitta person to first reflect and identify and discover that I have these two doshas. I do not understand Atma, and I also have Chitta Shuddhi. This is the greatest discovery. We talk about other discoveries in the world. We talk about Columbus discovering America. Columbus did not discover America. Nobody in the world did know of the land before other than the people there. No, there were people already living there. Those are not great discoveries. The greatest discovery is when we identify, when we find out what is in our mind. What is our mind? That is very important. And it is not easy, because it will not, our mind is so much that we will not want to discover our faults. Even if there is a fault in our mind, we will try to justify those faults. We will try to hide our character, hide our doshas. The first step for a spiritual person is to understand and know the tendencies of our own mind. Only if we are brutally honest about it, only then we can remove it. If somebody else finds fault, we will try to hide them, we will try to justify them, we will try to find fault in the other person to say, are you not like that? So we try to go defensive. But for a spiritual seeker, it is very important to discover one's own faults. Only then we will be performing Karma Yoga properly. So who need not perform Karma Yoga? A Jnani need not perform Karma Yoga because Jnani has already gone beyond Karma Yoga. We saw that in Sloka 17 and 18. One more person also need not perform Karma Yoga. See, Jnani does not perform Karma Yoga. A person who has attained Chitta Shuddhi, but he has not attained Jnana. In between, he has attained Chitta Shuddhi, but he has not attained Jnana. That person also need not perform Karma Yoga. Because Shastras, what does it say? If a person has attained mental purity, he can let go of his duties. All the duties have been created in this world only for the purpose of attaining Chitta Shuddhi. So if a person has attained Chitta Shuddhi, he can let go of his duties. So which means let go of duties means he can take up sannyasa. There will not be anything for him to be worrying about. He need not worry about anything. So a Jnani need not perform Karma Yoga. An Ajnani who has already got Chitta Shuddhi need not perform Karma Yoga. But an Ajnani without Chitta Shuddhi must perform Karma Yoga. So here Arjuna could ask Bhagavan, you are asking me to perform Karma Yoga for what? Is it to attain Chitta Shuddhi? Arjuna could say, I have Chitta Shuddhi. And Arjuna could say, after the second chapter, whatever you are taught about Atma Jnana, I have got knowledge about Atma also. So why should I perform Karma Yoga? So Bhagavan is trying to answer that particular doubt that Arjuna could get in his mind. In the sense, if I have Chitta Shuddhi, why should I perform Karma Yoga? And therefore Bhagavan is answering Loka Sangraha. Because if Janaka had performed Karma Yoga and he stayed in Karma Yoga and performed Karma Yoga, why? Bhagavan is answering Loka Sangraha. This particular way of actually debating is called Avyupedya Vadam. Vadam means debate, Avyupedya Vadam. So what happens is, in this, we consider a hypothesis and then answering what if it is true, and then finally is negating it. Because we are not able to get it, therefore we have to negate this hypothesis itself. So Bhagavan says, Arjuna, if you are a Jnani, or even if you have Chitta Shuddhi, you should perform Karma Yoga for Loka Sangraha. Why? Shankaracharya uses the word Prarabdha Balat. Your Prarabdha has brought you to a place, a situation in life where you need to perform your duties. And therefore you must perform. Whether you are a Jnani, whether you are already got Chitta Shuddhi, does not matter. You have been placed in a position where you have to perform your Prarabdha, and therefore you must continue to perform Prarabdha for those duties. In this case, say for example, Arjuna has probably become a Jnani. He has already understood it. In the last chapter teaching, whatever Bhagavan had given in the second chapter, say Arjuna is in the battlefield, he has got this knowledge, he has become a Jnani. Even in that case, where is he right now? He is right now in the battlefield. The battle has already begun. Everybody has blown their conches. The Pandava army is expecting him to fight this war. He has a duty for the sake of dharma. So Arjuna could ask, now I have got Jnana, I already have Chitta Shuddhi. Why should I perform this duty? Can I not go? And what can I gain? There is nothing to gain. Bhagavan will agree. You don't stand to gain by fighting this war, nor do you lose or nor do you gain by not fighting this war. We saw that. Naiva tasya na krite nartaha na krite neha kashchana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschid dharta vyapashraya. Last in the Sloka 18. You have nothing to gain or lose by discharging or renouncing your duties. But because this Prarabdha has brought you to this battlefield, you should accept it. What is prarabdha? Prarabdha is Ishvara's desire. Whatever has come as prarabdha should be taken as Ishvara's will. And therefore, Arjuna, for you, prarabdha is such that you are in the battlefield and therefore you will have to do your duty. You do not have a choice. You may be a Jnani, you may have got already chitta shuddhi, does not matter, you must perform your duty. And you may not gain anything by doing this, you may not gain by not doing this also. You must accept prarabdha without any resistance. And Bhagavan says, Janaka was a Jnani, but he did not give up everything and become a sannyasi, or he did not run away from his kingdom. He continued to perform his duties as a ruler, as a Kshatriya, because he allowed it to be guided by prarabdha. Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha me vapi. Loka Sangraha means for the sake of well-being of the society, for the welfare of the society, for the upliftment of the society. Evam api sampashyan. Loka Sangraham evam api sampashyan. Eva api sampashyan. Eva api means after considering Loka Sangraham, kartum arhasi. Arhasi kartum. You should act. So, for the sake of Loka Sangraha, a Jnani must perform karma yoga. If because of prarabdha he is in that position. We cannot claim that we are doing karma yoga for Loka Sangraha. We cannot say, I am doing karma yoga for the upliftment of the society. An ajnani or an ashuddha chitta person cannot perform karma yoga for Loka Sangraha. That person can perform karma yoga only for chitta shuddhi. There are other people who, after having getting the jnana, they have still performed actions for the sake of welfare of society. For example, Shankaracharya himself or Swami Vivekananda, they are all examples of people who have performed actions even after they got their jnana. They did it because their prarabdha was such that they had to do it, and they did it. In our life, generally speaking, we always tend to resist prarabdha. What is prarabdha? Prarabdha is to give us, it will give us both happy as well as sorrowful situations. And we will try to resist sorrowful situations. Working to ensure that we do not fall in sorrow is not that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the sorrowful situation. The mind becomes sorrow. The mind tries to run away from things. That is kind of called as samsara. The resistance is samsara. If we accept prarabdha without resistance, we will be able to come out of samsara soon. So here Bhagavan says, Arjuna, even if you are a Jnani, or even if you have got chitta shuddhi alone, you are not a Jnani, even in such case, because you are in a battlefield, you will have to perform this dharma yuddha as Loka Sangraha. That is what this shloka means. Now we'll go to shloka number 21. Yadyat ācārati śiṣṭah tattad devetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Yadyat ācārati śiṣṭah tattad devetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Now, here Bhagavan says why Loka Sangraha has to be performed and who has to perform it. As I said, Loka Sangraha means performing duties for the welfare of society even after one has attained jnana. even at the state where this person does not gain anything. Why do we do karma yoga? Because we want to get chitta shuddhi. But this person has nothing to gain. He's already got chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi is not important for him anymore. Or he does not have nothing to lose, nothing to gain, and yet doing it for the sake of welfare of the society. Kimartam Loka Sangraham Kartavyam. Who can perform actions for Loka Sangraha and why is it required? Now, human goals, we know there are 4 Purusharthas. These 4 Purusharthas can be divided into 2. One is Shreyas, the other one is Preyas. Shreyas means good. Good means moksha. Preyas means pleasure, or we can say arthakama. For both Shreyas and Preyas, the common thread is dharma. So when we say dharma, artha, kama, moksha, artha and kama through dharma, and by being dharmic, one will finally attain moksha also. So dharma is the common thread between both Shreyas and Preyas. Dharmika jivanam. A life of dharma is necessary and common condition for both. Some people may ask why dharma is needed for enjoying arthakama. Because according to Shastra, only if a person who lives a life according to dharma, he will be able to get punya. And only if through punya, a person will get favorable conditions. Favorable conditions meaning a good body, good sensory objects, good sensory sense organs, and proper sensory objects. Thus, this person will be able to enjoy happiness and pleasure to go along with it. Whereas if a person performs papa, he will not get it immediately, but he will get the effects of it later. And the unfavorable situation, it could be unfavorable situation, not a good body, not some good sense organs. There could be pain and sorrow, what he goes through. So if a person is experiencing happiness, then take it, or we ourselves, when we experience happiness, we must take it. There is some punya that has been done in the past that is working now. Either in this janma or some janmas in the past. It need not be only in this janma. Only punya can give happiness. Only dharmic lifestyle will give punya. The same dharmic lifestyle is the necessary starting platform for seeking moksha also. So both Shreyas and Preyas, they have the same starting point, dharma. How is it the same? Dharma or punya, if it is utilized for seeking happiness, we will get pleasure. That is arthakama, which is nothing but Preyas. The same dharma or punya, if we utilize it for chitta shuddhi, we say the same punya, I don't want pleasure, I want chitta shuddhi, then it will lead us to liberation or moksha. So the attitude in our mind will decide on how we are going to use the punya. The sankalpa that we have in our mind is what will be the converting factor of our punya. The underlying dharma is the same. The underlying punya is the same. For example, we do dhanam. Dhanam is a type of a punya karya. When we do that dhanam with the sankalpa saying, I want to get I want to enjoy, I want to do it so that somebody gives me some at some other later, or this kind of, I want to do it so that in my next lives I don't suffer much, I get all the things that I require from Bhagavan. That kind of sankalpa will result in kamyartha. Suppose some person does dana, he does not even think what he wants. He donates it for the sake of donating. I want to donate because this person needs it, or this is what I am, this is the right thing to do. I have so much in excess, I have to give out to others. If he does that nishkama, then what happens is, that turns out into chitta shuddhi. Chitta vishalam, chitta shuddhi. So that is the same with regards to all kind of sattvic sadhanas, sattvic activities or sadhanas. Every action of ours, the sankalpa is what decides whether the punya is going to be converted to prayas or shreyas. So a dharmic lifestyle can buy us either pleasure or happiness, or it can buy us chitta shuddhi, mental purity. So the dharma is the first and common step for both goals. Next question comes, how will we know which is dharma? It is definitely not determined by our likes and dislikes. Some people have this tendency to think that what is good for me is dharma. They say, I am doing, they will be replacing it in their mind. What is good for them is actually dharma. That is wrong. Dharma is something that cannot be determined by our likes and dislikes. Another problem with us is our mind keeps changing. It depends on the mood, it depends on the people involved. For this person, when I am doing it, I will consider it, this is dharma. Same situation, some other person, I don't want to do it because I don't consider it as dharma. Because people change, the other person changes, and therefore my understanding of dharma also changes. If we do not know the dharmic way of life, what happens? We will live our life according to our whims and fancies, what our likes and dislikes. We will continue to do what we feel in the name of freedom, and we will have a life that is driven by our likes and dislikes. A raga dvesha based life. And a raga dvesha based life, a likes and dislikes based life, is called as a wild life. Such a person is called as prakrita purusha. Prakrita purusha means he is not a refined person. Then if the person starts living a life according to dharma, then that person becomes samskrita purusha. He becomes a refined person. So what is a condition for a refined person is, a condition for a refined person is, I am not doing what I like to do, I am doing what I am supposed to do. That propriety is more important. So which means I should know what is proper and I should know what is improper. So now the question is, okay, now I should live a life according to dharma, but then I should know what is dharma, what is proper dharma, what is adharma, what is the source of knowledge, what is the pramana for leading a dharmic life is the next question. What is the source of knowing what is dharma and what is adharma? The first pramanam, of course, is Shruti, Vedas. That is the pradhana pramana, mukhya pramana. Especially the first part of the Vedas, the karma kanda of the Vedas, the Veda Purva Bhaga, that gives us what is dharma. There is a sutra written on Veda Purva Bhaga. It's called as Purva Mimamsa Sutra. I think it's written by Jaimini Maharishi. And where he talks about Vedokilam Dharma Moolam. He says, Vedas are the root for Dharma. or dharma is the root for the entire creation and the Vedas. And the Purva Mimamsa starts with this sentence, Atato Dharma Jignasa. It says, now we are going to analyze what is dharma, what is proper way of living. So the entire Vedas or the Shrutis are the primary source of dharma adharma jnana. But the problem is, the Vedas are huge, vast. So, and human knowledge is limited, and therefore one person cannot capture everything that is there in the Vedas. So we go to the second source of knowledge, which is called as Smriti. The second pramanam. Smriti are texts written by rishis by grasping and understanding what is already in the Vedas. So it's a secondary literature based on Vedas, and it will not have anything other than what has been already mentioned in the Vedas. Smritis do not carry rishis' interpretation or their own understanding of things. They will have a proper translation or a proper explanation of the text that is there already in the Shrutis. They will not go outside of what has been already conveyed in the Shrutis. And what Smritis means, it includes everything. We can also include Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Purana. All these are Smritis. That's why when Veda says Satyam Vada, we say Harishchandra Purana, we take up one story only to explain that particular sentence, Satyam Vada. And then there is Mahabharata, which almost gives the entire Vedas. That's why Mahabharata is sometimes called as Panchamo Veda, fifth Veda. Because while Ramayana teaches dharma, Mahabharata also teaches this subtle identification of dharma and adharma, but also it also gives, for example, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. And in Bhagavad Gita, one gets not only dharma and dharma, he also gets Atma Nitya. Atma Anatma Nirnayam, we can say. So dharma is subtle, it is difficult to understand, and therefore we have these characters, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, all these characters teach the subtleness of dharma. Remember, no character in Mahabharata is full white or full black. And every story, there is an aspect of dharma that one has to understand. While we can largely base dharma and adharma based on these Puranas and others, we can gather this information where we can understand all these things. But there are still certain things that may not be relevant to today's world in the current times. And the current times, the third source is called as śiṣṭa. Śiṣṭa is the third source of knowledge for us for dharma. What is śiṣṭa? More on that we will see it in the next class. Any questions or comments? And next class I'll also send a message in the group. Maybe we will structure it slightly for the next, in the month of December, we will structure it different. We want people to share their experience and knowledge or their reflections on whatever they have understood. I'll put some text in the group. Maybe we can actually take it from there. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.